Hey, this is Helen Paradise from SoCal, and you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Hey, good evening, and welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. This is a show where we talk about all things that are important to the world of barbecue and grilling. The show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. By the way, I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here for your Tuesday night's live fire fun and frivolity show. If you want to jump in on the show tonight via phone calls or emails, here's how you do that.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Everything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening this evening. Coming up in about 13 minutes from now, it is the first Tuesday of a brand new month. Believe it or not, we are now in February, the lovers' month of February. And the first Tuesday of the month brings a visit from no less than two show regulars. Coming up in the first interview segment, of course, the creator of How to Barbecue Right, Malcolm Reed, will be here. The last few days, if they haven't already eclipsed him, of hunting season are quickly approaching or just ended. So we'll see what Malcolm's take was through the season. Last month, I think he said it was more of his son that was doing the killing, and Malcolm was doing more of the recharging. So we'll see what the head count was for Malcolm's hunting season. We'll also see what the deal is. I think it's been damn near a month since he has released a brand new Malcolm Reed How to Barbecue Right podcast, which I have been a longtime fan of. And like most folks, when I subscribe to something and I get used to a release schedule, and then it doesn't happen 1 week, all right, 2 weeks, I start to question. Third week, what's going on here? Fourth week, I feel like there's something amiss. So we'll see what's going on. Maybe he's just taking a break or he does seasons. That seems to be a popular thing in podcasting these days. Seasons. I'm on the 13th season. AKA years of doing this. Seasons. Man up and do it. Then we'll move to the second interview portion of the first hour. We call that the 935. He's been on the show once before, and we talked about his extremely fabulous cast iron seasoning and maintenance products. There's a new thing to talk about this evening. It is, of course, Brad Stewart from Krispy Kreme. And I believe that website is krisby.org, not .com, not .net, .org. Somebody has .com, and they're really unfindable on the internet. I've tasked my most prolific black hats to retrace back. They can't do it. So, krisby.org, the website, and Brad Stewart will be joining us to talk about a brand new product. We'll also talk about how 2020 was for him and the cast iron seasonings, and that'll close the first hour. Then we'll move to the second hour, where we will find the other first Tuesday of the month regular guest, Sam the Cooking Guy. Huge on YouTube, of course. TheCookingGuy.com is his main website, where they're doing all sorts of cooking and recipe sharing and other tomfoolery. And then we will close the show at 35 past the second hour with the one, the only Laura Paul from Smithfield, where we will be announcing the Smithfield grant recipients. And the recipients know, I believe there's some paperwork that they had to do in advance. However, nobody outside of those people, and hopefully they didn't break confidence because you will immediately get eliminated. I don't know that to be the case. But in my mind, you'll get eliminated if you talk out of school, as it were. So many folks will be tuning in around 10:35 to see if their contest is part of the old Smithfield Grant program, which I believe is now in its fourth year or fifth year. It's been going on quite a while. So congratulations to Smithfield and keeping up with the Grant program. That's how the show shakes out for you this evening. Don't forget you can follow me socially. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Snaps at BBQ Central Show. Facebook and Twitch /BBQ Central Show for video feeds. You can also get a video feed over on YouTube, which is /RD Rempe. I don't usually do this right off the rip, but, and then there's this. Are any of you Subway fans out there? Subway, the place that brought you the generally named Pitmaster Ramon and the Subway brisket Sando, is now in deep water. Ever get that tuna sub at Subway? Ever wonder if you did get it, if that was really tuna? No, I never did either, because who in the hell would sub out tuna in place of tuna? And wouldn't you be able to tell if it wasn't tuna? This isn't like that fake-ass crab that you buy in the grocery store that looks like a perfectly shucked crab leg, but it's anything but crab. That's fake. But you can tell that's fake. Can't you tell fake-ass tuna from real tuna? Well, evidently not, according to an article I teased on my social media from the New York Post. 2 ladies have filed a lawsuit against Subway and reads as follows, or at least a portion. Karen DeWoa and Niliam Amin, both of Alameda County, California, say they ordered tuna from the sandwich giant at locations near their homes as recently as last year, according to a federal lawsuit filed in the Northern District of California last week. But, in a quote, independent testing has repeatedly affirmed the products are made from anything but tuna. The filling in the products has no scintilla of tuna in it at all, the suit claims. In fact, Subway tuna is made from a mixture of various concoctions that do not constitute tuna, yet have been blended together by defendants to imitate the appearance of tuna, close quote. Subway has done this in an effort to save money, since the blended non-tuna product costs less. In a quote, aware that consumers place a heightened value on tuna as an ingredient, defendants deliberately make false and misleading claims about the composition of the product to increase profits at the expense of unsuspecting buyers, close quote, the suit charges. Dahawa and Amin were tricked into buying food items that wholly lacked the ingredient they reasonably thought they were purchasing, the court papers allege. Let me ask you something. Is this not the definition of frivolous lawsuit? Ladies, $5 million? Are you serious? How about Subway refunds you the purchase price of the potentially not tuna sub and then bans you from ever showing up at their places of business again? By the way, Subway roundly rebuffs the claims made by these 2 women. Having been a sandwich artist for almost 1 year when I was a more youthful Greg Rempe, I can tell you that the skimp isn't going on in the tuna. If there was going to be any skimping, it would be on the seafood sub or on the actual meat, not the tuna. By the way, during my time as said Subway sandwich artist, I think that was a thing. Do they even call them sandwich artists anymore? When I was there, you were a sandwich artiste. It was a magical time in my life. I sold 0 tuna subs ever. What I did do was hang out in the walk-in cooler and eat pickle chips from the 10-gallon bucket like it was going out of style. Those things were delicious, crisp, chilled from the walk-in. And no, I did not pick them out with my bare fingers. There was some huge-ass net that we used to fish them out of the bucket. Pun intended. Fish them out. Tuna. See what I did? I'm interested to see where this fun and frivolity lawsuit winds up. I have a feeling it's going to get tossed out. $5 million, by the way. Are they hoping to settle for $1 million? I think they're shooting for the large number in hopes of working that back to an amount they would be happy walking away with. Subway, don't settle. Fight it to the hilt. Bleed these women out, calling your awesome tuna subs fake tuna. Not one scintilla of tuna. Scintilla? Is that a measurement? Malcolm makes the all-purpose rub with a scintilla of the essence of Malcolm. Who knows? All right, folks, let me talk to you quickly about Primo Grills. The website, primogrill.com. They have a unique shape. So we know all the other ceramic cookers out there are round. That doesn't really avail them to be true two-zone cookers. But the Primo is different. It's oval in shape, so you can actually put a divider right in the middle of the firebox. You can move the burning coals over to one side, and then you can have a completely uncold side. I just made that up, uncold. No heat. And then you can cook over no heat. For the indirect portion, you can move it over the direct heat to sear and or finish. True two-zone cooking. Amazing Ribs loves that about the Primo. They have a bunch of different sizes in ovals, extra large. They also have an extra large Jack Daniel's edition. They have a large, and they have a junior. Now, if you just can't get past the fact that this thing is oval and visually it looks different, and you got to be like everybody else, Primo will accommodate your need to conform to peer pressure by offering a round Primo as well. So you can be just like everybody else, except this one will be a cool black color. They also have an extra large gas ceramic cooker. Little pricey, but if you want to be the envy of your neighborhood, that might be something you want to check out. But get an oval. Ovals are fun. Primogrill.com is the website. You can check them out. I believe Tuffy Stone has a Primo. Many people using Primos. At Primo Nick, I believe, is the social media handle of the president of the company, Nick Bauer. It's all great stuff. Love it. Primogrill.com, and we're back with Malcolm Reed right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
You're listening to the #1 most downloaded barbecue and grilling podcast anywhere. The Barbecue Central Show. Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by the creators of automatic pit temperature control technology and seller of other ceramic cookers with built-in power draft fans and accessories to make your barbecue and grilling life easier. That, of course, The Barbecue Guru. Visit bbqguru.com for more information or call them at 800-288-GURU with all of your questions. The Barbecue Guru continues to be a breakthrough in barbecue technology. All right, it's first Tuesday of a brand new month, the Lovers Month of February. So let's go ahead and race over to the hotline and welcome back the co-creator of How to Barbecue Right, Malcolm Reed. Hey, Malcolm.
Hey, what's happening, Greg?
Well, I'm happy to have you back. I wanted to follow up with you as I was stalking, kids say stalking on social media, and it looked like hunting season was coming to an end. I thought hunting was like a week, or maybe deer season is like a week here in Ohio, or maybe that's just for guns. So what is the actual hunting season for you?
Man, ours opens October 1st for bow season, and it goes all the way through January 31st. I mean, there's some various rifle seasons and primitive weapon seasons that go in there. But once it opens for a rifle I guess right around the weekend before Thanksgiving, you can pretty much use a rifle on private land all the way to January 31st. So.
What's primitive weapon hunting? What does that mean?
Muzzleloading type weapons.
Why did you want to use that?
They made a crazy state law back in the day.
Man.
But they've changed it to where you can, pretty much use any kind of weapon you want. It's not really primitive anymore.
I like sport to a degree, but I mean, muzzleloader sounds like the English are invading and we're going to have to stand our ground again. I want like automatic weapons. I
used to hunt with one. There was a few weeks there that was your only choice. And so you had to get the black powder out and put the balls in it with the patch and jam it down the tube and go out there and hope your cap went off. It was old school stuff.
How accurate is that when you're shooting it? Like how close do you have to be to really hit it?
Within 50, some of them up to 100 yards, you're good. So it just depends on how good a shot you are.
Indeed, like everything else when it comes to hunting, depends on how good a shot you are. So how did it end up? Did you have a big take?
I didn't fire a single shot. I took Michael, my son, with me as much as he would go, and he killed him 2 bucks and a doe this year, so he had a real good season for to be 11. And as long as he wanted to go, I said I'd leave my gun in the truck and go with him and try to. I tried to do some filming, so we'll see how some of that video turns out.
After it's all butchered out and stuff, does that leave you with quite a bit of meat to eat over the course of the next handful of months? However you do?
We've got a freezer full of deer meat, so I've got I'll make it till next season usually.
Oh, good. All right, so we have a huge weekend coming up. One of the many eating food weekends, especially for us live fire folks. Of course, that being Super Bowl. You have Tampa Bay, and you have Kansas City. So first off, let's go ahead and get your pick for who's going to win the Super Bowl. Do you like KC or do you like Tampa?
Man, something tells me if I was betting to probably bet on Tampa Bay since it's basically a home game for them.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to count Mahomes out, man. The Kansas City team is hot, and as long as he doesn't get hurt, he was kind of limping around with a turf toe in the championship game, and he got his bell rung the game before. So it depends on how good Tampa Bay's defense steps up. But Brady will make some mistakes. He's going to throw some touchdowns, but he's going to throw some picks too. So I think it's going to be a defensive game.
Yeah, I think it's high score. Well, I mean, we're both going to say, high scoring is probably out the window and it's going to end up being a barn burner, of course. But I just don't see, I can't make any good reason why Kansas City won't roll over Tampa Bay. And in my heart, I want Kansas City for more than a couple reasons to roll over Tampa Bay. I think Tom Brady has an extremely charmed life. I hate him only to hate him for many reasons because he's really good at a lot of everything. But Kansas City beat the Browns, who rung his bell, by the way, as you had just referenced. And the team that beats my team, and plus then they beat the Bills. I thought the Bills had a chance at beating Kansas City, like a legitimate shot at beating Kansas City. I was hoping the Bills would be here. But, man, I just think it's a clandestine time where Tom Brady will leave New England and show that he can go win somewhere else. And you see what happens when you take the quarterback away from the Patriots. They sucked. And he went down, put some weapons around him. He's right back to where he's used to being. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it took him a little while to put it together there, but I think they kind of worked their kinks out through the season, and they didn't coast by any means, in their division. I think the Saints were the favorite. The Saints in Green Bay probably should have been there in the championship, but you can't count him out. He's the GOAT. I mean, he's the Darren Wart of football.
In order to beat the man, you got to beat the man. So we'll see what happens this coming Sunday. Who cares about any of that? This isn't a sports show. We're talking about eating and we're talking about recipes. So what is on tap at the How to Barbecue Right HQ for Super Bowl Sunday?
Oh man, there's got to be wings on board. That's what Super Bowl's all about, eating some wings to me. So we'll do wings several different ways. I'll have to do some pulled pork to make some pulled pork nachos. We don't get overboard. We always do like the Memphis style sausage and cheese plates, and we try to keep it, finger food, something you can grab a plate and still hang on to a beer and watch the game. It's not, it's more of a lot of football type food than it is something big like ribs or something like that.
was like a big graze event, would you say?
That's it. You got to bring out all the good dip recipes. You got to have some hot dips and some cold dips and the cheese dips and and plenty of wings and a little bit of barbecue and a lot of good sausages and brats, things like that.
What do you like from a preparation on wings? Like, what's your favorite way? Certainly, there's any number of sauces and all this other stuff that you can do after the fact. But let's talk about wing preparation. Maybe what you're looking for in a wing, and then how you go about cooking them and found success with.
Well, I really like them on the grill. So I do them where I get the skin really dry with paper towels, and I put like a light coat of oil on them just so they can kind of crisp up and brown up. I keep the seasoning really simple on them. I mean, sometimes I'll just go with the AP seasoning, like salt, pepper, garlic, and I may put a little hot barbecue rub on some of them. But I cook them at a higher temp. It takes about an hour and 15 minutes for me to cook wings. Usually about 350 degrees. They get some smoke on them, but you get so much better skin. And I love for the bones to pop out in my wings. I hate to bite into a wing. You got to work it off the bone. You're questioning, is it done or not? Because you still see some of the, up against the bone, how it gets discolored sometimes. So I want them done. I take them up to about 190, 195, well over what's recommended done. But wing, it's mainly skin. It's got some meat on it, but there's just something about them when you take them up that high and the bones will just pull right out when you bite into them. I mean, that's how I like to eat a wing.
I've been seeing more and more in the preparation part. Is it a light coat of baking powder? Is that what I'm seeing? I think Diva does that. And as soon as I saw her do it, I mean, she's huge in the space, obviously. She's doing an incredible amount of content, insane amount of content. And I saw her do it, and then all of a sudden everybody started picking it up. I haven't tried it myself, but I would imagine this is for a crisping or getting a more crispy skin, because she's cooking it in some form of a Traeger.
Yeah, I've tried the baking powder. I've done it with cornstarch. I've done it on the pellet grill, done it with the Vortex to get it really crispy. And it does kind of give it a little bit of a fried, kind of a fake fried on a grill. But I think if you crank the temp up and you get some oil on the skin, it turns out even better than using some kind of starch.
Malcolm Reed joining us here on the show. HowToBBQRight.com, the website, of course. You can find him over on YouTube and subscribe there, as 1.17 million of you are currently doing as of this afternoon. Anything else from a Super Bowl eating extravaganza that you're planning on this weekend?
I'm actually going to do a video. We're going to hopefully release it this week, and we'll try to shoot it tomorrow. My version of, barbecue nachos. I'm going to do a barbecue nacho burger. We're going to take a burger. I'm going to smoke it. I'm going to glaze the burger with some barbecue sauce and then pile pulled pork on top of that patty on the bun, and then drizzle it with nacho cheese and then some barbecue sauce and a little bit of rub and crispy jalapenos on top. So it's going to be the best of both worlds.
Wow, no doubt. Will you be grinding your own burger meat, or do you get it already ground?
No, I bought some 80/20 ground certified Angus beef ground chuck, man. It's hard to beat that hamburger meat.
Did you get that at the super low?
Super Low Foods, man. You know it.
Yeah, the only reason I know that, and that leads me into my next question, is at least for a month, we've been without the How to Barbecue Right podcast. What's going on with it?
Well, we're going to have the first episode back this week.
All right.
We've kind of, it's time to get back to the grind. This was the official first week back. And so we're going to record an episode Friday morning and launch it out that day. And it'll be season 4, episode 1.
All right, I was going to say, I've seen more and more podcasts go into a season, like a Netflix will do a season, and you're certainly not dropping 15 out where you've done a backlog and you just do a dump like a Netflix show would do, but you do them between X time and X time and then allow yourself some time off on the back end, it seems.
Well, I take my hunting break, so we detach from all of it, and that's kind of what separates our seasons from going into it. And we really don't bank podcasts because I like them to be whatever's going on at the time. So I'll shoot my video tomorrow. That's what we'll be talking about, the main focus of the podcast, and then whatever else we've been up to all this off time. So that's kind of how we've always done it. I mean, I know it probably would help if we got ahead a little bit, but give us some wiggle room. But we're not that good at scheduling.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I tend to agree with you because of how that podcast is structured, with a pull the curtain back so you can see how that video went, and you talk about things you might be doing later in that week. I'm always listening to it, I think, on a Monday as I'm getting my morning run in. So it's always kind of like after the fact of a release, but you're talking about maybe what you're going to be doing the next video, but then you're also breaking down what you did the last time. So I don't know how far out you could get unless you had a bunch of video banked and you were just talking about that. So, which would probably be tough to do anyway. So I think the way you have it going right now is the way that it should be going. The good news is I got a whole month ahead of you on downloads, which I need because, we're like pretty much tied at this point for downloads every month and over the course of the year. So hopefully I can stay just a shade ahead, but it's going to be tough. Competitions this year in 2021, Malcolm, like how does the schedule look for you right now? And like, did you have a certain mindset in November as to how it might look? And now that we're in February, has it changed at all?
I actually sat down and looked at the schedule today, what we were going to do, and there's 5 or 6, before May that we may attempt. It really depends on this ongoing pandemic COVID situation. If these contests make, we're going to try to get the ones that are within close driving distance to us at least. There's a mix of KCBS, MBN, and SCA that I want to do. Some of them are doubles where you can do a SCA along with one. So, excuse me.
Yep. Do you think there's a lot of, what are they calling it, pandemic fatigue, where people will, maybe last year they weren't really up to taking a risk because there wasn't so much known about all of this stuff. And then, almost a year later, we know what we know. And some people are like, hey, fuck it. We're just going to go ahead and do it anyway. And we'll take the risk because we just want to do something.
I know we are. We're sick of it. We're ready to get out. And I think that's a consensus with everybody. People just want to go get back to life, get back to normal, what we were doing. So that means cooking barbecue contests for us, seeing our buddies, having a good time. And, luckily where we are, there's, a pretty good bit of contest around us where we don't have to travel too far to do one. So I'm hoping some of them make. We signed up for Memphis in May again. We'll see how that goes.
Did they give you an idea when they would make the call on that?
No, they it's just like last year. They'll wait up till probably the last minute and see how some of these other contests do.
Now, it seems that the SCA will be rolling more or less full steam ahead. With that in mind, would you see yourself doing more steak contests, especially if some of these barbecue events start to fall off?
I probably will, just so we can get out. I mean, last year I don't even know if I even cooked in maybe one. I really let Michael cook in almost. He got into it, but I don't know if he hadn't said anything about cooking steak. If he finds out we're going, he's probably going to want to. So I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely want to go to some and just to get out the house. We've got to get back and see everybody and have a good time and all that stuff. So I'm anxious for that.
Do you think a lot of what is winning in SCA last year is going to be carrying over to this year? I don't really think, aside right from the beginning in that March to mid-April, I think they started having events fairly quickly after that middle of March. I remember talking to Rusty and Anthony from Pitmaster's podcast when they went to the first one out there in Utah or whatever it was. But then they seemed to really just put the hammer down and have contests pretty much unfazed. Do you think that they're going to be, whatever is winning back then is going to still carry the day at this point?
It always changes in SCA. I mean, that's the great thing about it. Any given day, you can have somebody new win with just whatever they're doing at home. I know there's a lot of guys that put, a ton of hard work into it and using the same seasonings and really getting it down. But man, I've had luck just keeping it simple and throwing a good steak at the judges. So it's hard to say if one flavor just dominates it. I mean, if I had to pick one flavor that dominates SCA, it's salt. I mean, as long as you get a steak that tastes good and it's got, enough salt to carry the rest of the seasons through it, it's going to do okay.
Would you put MSG on a steak?
Yeah, we always do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, that wakes it up. I mean, right. That's just, that's kind of been always a competitor's thing that, judges say they don't like MSG or they're allergic to it, but I guarantee you they love it because they get it with every bite they take.
I've seen a lot of, the tying of the steak has been around for quite a period of time. I think the first time I saw somebody tying a steak was when we were all down in Fort Worth for the NBBQA convention there 3 years ago or whenever it was at this point. But now I'm seeing pins going into the sides of the steak as well. So they're tying and pinning. Do you have whatever these pins are, and will you be partaking in steak pinning?
I've put toothpicks in them before. I've never used the pins. They look like the old biology pins from biology lab, where you got to tag the frog and all that stuff. But I don't know. Tying seems to work. I don't tie real tight. I give it just enough to hold it together in case some of that fat tries to separate. That's what it's all about. I kind of like that natural steak look as much as I can get it. So I don't know, the pins, I guess they work for some of those guys. They're doing good with them. So it wouldn't be something I would, be quick to switch to.
Malcolm Reed joining me here on the show from How to Barbecue Right. Malcolm, for the last couple minutes, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about cooker recommendations. Maybe people got some extra Christmas money laying around, or as spring starts to roll in, the onslaught of books is only around the corner. And, of course, people are going to want to start to get outside, especially if you live in a thermal area where I do, and it sucks right now and typically about 7 months out of the year, and you want to get out and start cooking. Give me your best entry-level cooker recommendations. Let's say somewhere between $300 to $700.
I would go with the drum. Now that's assuming you got a Weber kettle, because I think everybody needs a Weber kettle. That's the grill to learn on. You can not only can you grill on it, you can set the thing up and smoke on it. And they make we've talked about before, they make a ton of attachments for it. So that's the 101 grill to me.
It's the gateway drug to barbecue is the kettle grill.
Yeah, it really should be. It should be.
No doubt.
Now from there, where you go, it depends on, how easy do you want it? Do you want to sacrifice flavor and go the pellet route and get a cheap pellet grill? There's some, there's plenty of them out there. Yep. That if you got $700 to spend, there's some great ones. They all cook about the same. They're made out of about the same kind of materials. It kind of gets into a brand thing. Customer service is what I would look at in those. But for me, if I was going to buy the second grill after I had my kettle, I want authentic flavor. I'm going to go drum. Because one, I can build one. There's, Big Papa makes a great kit that you can find, just a food grade refurbished drum, put it together real simple, and then you got a cooking machine. That's what I have on my barbecue trailer. Now I've got, a couple fancy gateways and all that, and I love cooking on those, but that homemade home kit drum is a beast, and I've got maybe $200 in it.
Yeah. And in that $300 to $700 range too, you'll find a pit barrel cooker as well.
Yeah, pit barrel. That's a fine example too. They're along that same thing, the drum design. What makes them so great is you're cooking over fire. There's enough distance in there to where it's not grilling the meat. You actually have like a 2-zone setup because of the distance, but your meat's dripping on that fire, and you just can't reproduce that flavor. And they cook. If you want to cook hot and fast, you can get some meat done in time. You can slow them down, cook low and slow, put a pit temperature device on them. They're just versatile.
From a mid-level, so let's call that $800 to $1,200. What do you like, or what would you recommend?
I guess it would. Now that's where it would start saying, do I want to be a purist and go with the stick burner, like an Oklahoma Joe style or something like that? One of those type pits where I got to feed it wood and really watch the fire and learn how to do that, or do I want to keep it simple and get a pellet grill? I would probably lean towards something like the Ironwood 885 from Traeger. I love those grills. They're, I've tried my best to tear one up and I can't do it. And for, I think $1,200, right in that range, something like that, it's a heck of a grill, Wi-Fi, all that. But is it any better than say a Grilla grill down, the Silverback that's down there around 700 something? I don't know if it's that much better. It just has a Wi-Fi feature. So there's, you got RecTech in there, you got Green Mountain Grills in there. All those guys, you just kind of trade off a little bit of the real smoke flavor for the ease and for the convenience and for the technology that comes with it. And I'm a fan of it, man. I think pellet grills are, have a place. I cook on them all the time.
Yeah.
Just like I cook on my stick burners and my drums and my eggs and all of it.
High level, or where money doesn't seem to be an object. So anything north of $1,500, what would you recommend if somebody had an open checkbook and was asking for your best thoughts?
Old Hickory. That's what I would go with. I would go towards the MM or the CTO.
Nice.
Those pits they're money makers for one. If you ever fall on hard times and you need to start a barbecue business, you got a foundation. They turn out fantastic barbecue. You can, now I don't know what the price on them are now. I imagine they're around $5,000 or $6,000. You could probably pick up a used one for around $4,500 maybe. But that's it's a recreational guy's grill that's really a commercial grill. You could put those in restaurants, and people do all the time.
There are your suggestions and recommendations from the one and only Malcolm Reed, who is also predicting a Bucs win this coming Super Bowl Sunday, so we'll see how that turns out. In the meantime, you can check Malcolm out at howtobbqright.com. Subscribe to him on YouTube, and the first Tuesday of the month, you find him right here on the Barbecue Central Show. Malcolm, always appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Hey, always a pleasure, Greg. See you next month, man.
All right, there he is, Malcolm Reed. You betcha. I didn't get his make love recipe for Valentine's Day. Maybe next year. All right, we got Brad Stewart from Krispy Kreme coming up next. He took me off guard with the Old Hickory. Great suggestion, though, by the way. He did mention this, Green Mountain Grills. That's right. Some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. They have two different lines, or 2.2 different lines. A choice line, which is the original of the gang. Then they have a prime line. And then they have a prime plus. So I will talk to you about those very briefly. So the choice line is the one that started it all, as I had mentioned. There's no tech or anything fancy schmancy, just a solid cooker that's going to produce consistent results. All good stuff here. You got a Jim Bowie, you got a Daniel Boone. Now, if you want to spend a couple $100 extra more bucks, so you can get 2 internal meat probes, you can get Wi-Fi connectivity, you can cook with your app and make adjustments in that way. You can have peek-in windows on the main cooking chamber, the pellet hopper. You can have a little bit more of a substantial build and a non-fold-down front shelf. Prime line is something you're going to want to take a look at. If you want to spend a couple extra $100 more bucks on top of that, you can get the Prime Plus. That'll get you some headlights in the main cooking chamber, as well as some other items. It's up to you. They sell through dealers, so go to greenmountaingrills.com, find a dealer near you, and then make an appointment. Go check them out. You can ask all the questions you want of the dealer. They are educated to then, in turn, educate you to make sure you're having a great buying experience and you know how to use it right off the bat. greenmountaingrills.com is the website. They have rubs and sauces and other accessories. If you get the Jim Bowie or the Daniel Boone, of course, as I say each and every week, get the pizza of an insert as well. It's fun. High heat pizza. Doesn't get any better than that. greenmountaingrills.com, and we are back with Brad Stewart right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by cookinpellets.com. So if you have one of those pellet cookers, you got to fire them up. Why not use the best pellets out there on the market today? Your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. Visit cookinpellets.com for more information or to purchase. You can also visit amazon.com as well. My next guest is someone providing a product that serves a sector of our live fire community known as cast iron, selling his wonderful cast iron seasoning products. But tonight, we are also going to be talking about a new product that has just recently been released to the market. So let's go ahead and hit the hotline and welcome back Brad Stewart. Hey, Brad.
What's going on, Greg?
I am happy to have you here, Mr. Krisby. You got a nice fire roaring in the background, which I appreciate.
Hey, it's Florida. It's cold here.
Oh, like how? What's
it's
cold?
In the 40s.
Oh, okay.
40.
Yes.
Yeah,
All
it's pretty cold for us.
For you guys, that's downright bone chilling. Perhaps out if you go outside, there's a biting wind. Those are things that we say up here in the north.
Yeah, you don't go out. Just don't go out.
Yeah, just stay inside. Good idea. Brad, before we get into some of the new product that we're going to be talking about, let's talk about the cast iron portion of the business, or the Krispy Kreme, kind of that flagship product. 2020 was a year like no other, and a lot of folks that were in this side of the business had record years. They were some of the best years that they've ever had outside of the food service industry portion. And even some of those did pivot quite a bit and found some success, perhaps not to the degree that they normally would. But in a lot of cookers and fuels and accessories and all this other stuff, people were just selling out and having a hard time keeping inventory. So how did Crisby work out at the end of 2020?
Yeah, we absolutely killed it. Honestly, we're in quite a few more new retailers. We just, I think it was a couple weeks ago, we're in Meat Church's place. Was happy to get in his store. But yeah, we probably haven't really finished our accounting for the year, but probably almost doubled our for our year to date. So just pretty big, and no other reason than COVID that we can think of. It's not like we just came up with anything new. It's just everyone's at home and they're cooking, and a lot of cast iron seems to be really uh, like the niche thing to do is using cast iron, and people are finding how forgiving it is and how easy it is to cook on and how great you can sear a steak on it. So there we are helping people get them ready to cook. So we're in a good spot at the right time, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, doubling is certainly something you would hope for year over year. Probably not realistic to think that that's going to happen, but not too bad. When you are budgeting then for this year, do you have to toss 2020 out and not expect the same results, or do you think that at least for the first half of the year you might?
Last time that we were on that I was on, it was right at, I think we're a couple months after COVID started, and we were going crazy. And you asked me pretty much the same thing, and now I've got a manufacturer that's doing a lot of the work for us, and honestly, we're probably looking to increase at least by a couple 100% this year.
Wow.
We've got several new products coming out, and yeah, we're looking to get a lot bigger. We're working with. Never thought I would be interested in it, but we're probably by this summer going to be in a lot of Walmart stores, at least in the sporting goods. So yeah, I've got a guy working out in California with some buyers. We're getting ready to meet with them here in a month or so. I was never that was never my intention to be like in Walmart stores. I like the little niche barbecue shops and Amazon, of course. That's what we normally sell on. Web sales are good too, but yeah, who knows? Maybe it will be in all the Walmart stores. And
Do you not want to get
again,
onto Walmart because you've heard horror stories, or you wanted to like do a control? I would imagine doing it the way you are, and then all of a sudden having to go into any number of Walmart stores could potentially have kind of a log jam.
I just never pictured being in the stores, and I never pictured being anything like what I'm doing now. Anyway, the little stores where I can meet the owners, go in, and where I can go to Egg Fest and stuff people's goodie bags, the cook bags. I'm more of a hands-on, and now, it's difficult for me going with corporate people, sitting down in offices and doing Zoom calls all over the place. I just it never interested me, but hearing that I might have an order for 2,000 stores, I'm like, what? How many? So that kind of, that's got my interest. I'm not really into this for money. I'm in it for, I enjoy what I'm doing. So
are you independently wealthy otherwise?
No, not at all. No, I'm not independently wealthy.
All right.
No. I'm just saying I'm not in it to be a bazillionaire. I mean, good God, I just threw away money on GameStop stock. So, yeah, I almost was independently wealthy, but it crashed.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think my main man Jordan Belfort was calling for a crash to happen, sooner than later. You wanted to be on the beginning of that swoop up and not the last guy to jump on the bandwagon. So
Yeah, I'm still early in it.
Yeah.
I got in it early, so
Oh, good.
I'm still ahead.
All right.
But not independently wealthy. A couple Walmart orders would make me independently wealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
and fortunately, we're lined up now. I guess everything works out. Lined up with a manufacturer that can knock out 100,000 of my crispy sticks, in a couple days. Where that would take me. I used to do like 150 sticks per hour was when we first started, and up until a couple of years ago, that was kind of like my rate of production. So now we're in it's a totally different thing now, where I'm not really in control of that anymore, other than just being there and watching the production runs. I don't really do anything anymore, other than talk to nice people like you, social media,
So we got
and my daily
Walmart.
mailing.
We got Walmart in the offing, so that sounds like it could be a
Yeah,
good thing. And we also
yeah.
have a new product to talk about that's been out for a little bit. And I have to say, I have a bunch of knives. I would say a handful of those knives are wooden handled. And I also have one wood cutting board. And I always get confused with wood's bad, wood's good. So I've always kind of steered away from the wood. But I do have a nice wood cutting board that Certified Angus Beef gave me. Then after a couple washes, things ashy looking, and it's nowhere near as sexy as it was when it came out of the box originally. Likewise, the wood handles on my steak knives are weathered, to say the least.
Yeah.
And the thing I always hear is, well, you just get some food-grade oil. And I'm like, what does that even mean? And do I go to Amazon and put food-grade oil? And by the time I want to actually put some effort into it, I forget about it. And then I pull the knives back out of the dishwasher, which is probably part of the problem anyway. I'm not hand washing. And I think, oh, flip, I got to do this food grade oil again. And then I saw that Crisby was coming out with a wood conditioner. So where does this whole thing start? Where does it get its genesis?
Well, doing all these egg fests I've been doing for ever. Seems like forever. Hanging out with really good cooks and chefs and really good cutting boards. Again, just trying to expand the business and looking around, and I just finally said, I think I could make a better setup than what's out there. I'm not going to throw some other names out there, but there's a lot of them. They'll have an oil step one. You put the oil down, and then you come back and put a paste on top of that to kind of make it waterproof. And basically, I just thought it would be maybe a little easier, friendlier for the user to have just one product. So screwed around with it a little bit, Greg. It took me a good solid year of working before I got what I finally came up with was a really low viscosity oil, which was really good for penetrating into wood. And I just got the right amount of bee wax mixed into with it, so just kind of tied them both in together. So you're sealing it and you're also penetrating it, so you're preventing the wood from drying out. And you can just go back, after every time. If you have to wash your cutting board for whatever reason, you can just put another light application on it, and you're good to go.
How do you can you tell us exactly how you would use it on knife handles or something like this?
Yeah, sure. A knife handle like you've got that hasn't been touched up much in the past years. I won't say abused, but
I'll say
neglected. Neglected. Greg, you neglected your stuff.
Yes.
So what we're going to do is you're going to put, for something that's really neglected, you're probably going to put a nice thick coating on it. Throw some nitrile gloves on, or just a rag, heavy coating, and let it sit on there. If you can watch it for an hour or two, just keep putting it on, make sure it's soaking in, then leave it on there overnight. the following morning, just wipe it down, and it'll look like a brand new knife. It really will. Just typically one application. Now, for new cutting boards, say someone just crafts a brand new cutting board, you've got a little more work because you've got wood that's never been treated. That knife has been treated in the past, so a brand new cutting board, you're probably going to do that every single day for a week, and let it sit, a good 12 to 24 hours in between applications. And then after that, you're probably only going to need once a week for the first 4 weeks, and then just monthly for maintenance.
What are we looking at from a price point?
Well, we're selling 8 ounces for $11.95, so pretty reasonable. I'm making a buck. I'm making a couple bucks. My wholesalers are going to be able to make a couple bucks, so it's a fair price. It's probably a little bit less than, it's considerably less than what you're going to spend if you're buying a separate food grade mineral oil and a wax sealer. So, and that was another thing, trying to save a little money for the consumer, which, this day and age people care about.
Yeah, no doubt. Is there a certain amount of time that a tube should last if you're just like in a maintenance interval? I mean, obviously, if you, like you had mentioned, if you got a new board, you're going to be racing through it a little bit quicker. But if most of your stuff has been treated and you're just in maintenance, is that something that could last? I mean, and I guess it would depend on how many knife handles you have and all that other shit. But I mean, you're looking at maybe a good 2-3 months before you'd have to reorder again.
I would think a bottle, if you've already got an existing, say, 3 wood cutting boards, average size, and maybe 6 to a dozen knives, wood utensils, your wood spoons, probably going to last you about a year.
Oh, wow.
One bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah. It goes a long way.
Yeah, extrapolate that
now,
out.
You
I mean,
tried
it's
it
pennies
on
a day.
Yeah, you tried it on one of your knives, right?
Yes, I had a custom knife made by a guy here in Cleveland that I neglected to handle, and that was the first thing I tried it on, because that's really what sparked my interest in buying it. Was I had this great knife, and I took a dump on the handle, and I wanted to make it nice again. This was an easy thing, and it shined it, it made it look so much. It made it look just like I got it, 5 or 6 years ago when the guy made it for me. It was great, and really easy too, just like you said.
Yeah, we had a knife, like, we've been married 35 years, and Linda said she thought that was a wedding gift. It was an old Chicago cutlery. On our Instagram post, if you check out Crisby Puck, you can see some photos of one application on that. And yeah, I pretty much neglect my knives also. I think everyone does, everyone does. We all neglect, well, I shouldn't say we all, most of us.
Yeah,
right?
No doubt. Some of us have OCD, and neglect isn't part of the process, but otherwise you wouldn't be able to go to bed at night. From a new products rollout this year, when do you think you'll be releasing some new stuff?
Actually, Friday, I just took a couple things up to our manufacturer to get priced out. We're doing just some small little tins that'll be available probably here in a few, probably within a couple months. Greg, we'll have just a couple small little tins you can throw in a backpack, take with you hiking. They're going to be real simple to use, much lower price point. And we're also working on a new soap. We're looking on a cast iron soap that's going to not only clean your cast iron but also remove rust. We've got oxalic acid in the soap, and it works wonderful on removing rust. So that'll be really big in the industry for cast iron, because of course that's one of the biggest complaints is, how do I get rid of rust?
Right.
So Crispy Soap's going to take care of that for you. That's probably that'll be we're hoping to have that up by May, up and running.
All right, so we'll be.
And then after that, I don't know what I need to take a break and not do anything new, man.
That's right. Well, I mean, depending on how it goes, you just might need to be around to help keep up with sales and make sure the ship is running right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. A little more family time would be nice.
Right.
Getting around and seeing some folks that are kind enough to have us in their stores. That's always one of my favorite things. I want to give a shout out to BJ Chain of Lakes over in Winter Haven on the 21st. My son and I, Palmer, my son and I, will be there at their Egg Fest. It's one of the few Egg Fests here, Greg, that are still on schedule. But we're going to be out there, Palmer and I. We're going to be doing some demo, and while people are walking around eating food, we're just doing some cast iron care and also our new wood cream product, Krispy Kreme Wood.
Krispy Kreme Wood. All right. So check them out over at that Egg Fest. Before I let you go, Brad, do you have a pick for this coming Super Bowl, Kansas City or Tampa Bay?
I'm going with the GOAT.
That's right. Got to be Tampa Bay. Florida team, of course.
Going with the GOAT.
Got to go with the GOAT. All
right.
Krisby.org is the website. I'll have that in the show notes, of course. So if you got wood or you got cast iron, you got both. They got products for you. Brad, always appreciate the time. Thanks so much for doing it.
Hey, Greg. Thanks, man. Have a great night.
You got it. There he is, Brad Stewart from Krispy Kreme. Krisby, Krisbee. Krisby.org is the website. And again, I'm a big fan of the Krispy wood. I know you guys are mistreating, neglecting. That was the word. Your knife handles and your wood spoons and all that stuff. So let's stop doing that immediately. I'll talk to you quickly about B&B Charcoal. bbcharcoal.com is the website. Makers of lump charcoal, makers of great briquette charcoal, makers of char log charcoals and wood pellets and wood splits and wood chunks and wood chips and all that good stuff. Find them over at your local Ace. That's where I get mine, and that is bbcharcoal.com. We are back to wrap the first hour right after this. Stick around.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, this portion of the show being brought to you by Fireboard 2, Fireboard 2 Drive, and the new Fireboard 2 Pro with the thermocouples. You can monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously, connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring, or connect via Bluetooth. And if you have Alexa or the Google Assistant, you're in luck because Fireboard 2 is fully integrated with both. Fireboard.com, the website, 816-945-2232. If you have any questions, Ted Conrad and the gang over there at Fireboard. All right. Thanks again to Brad Stewart from Krispy. Again, if you have neglected wood handles and spoons or anything wood, the cutting board, as I had mentioned, Krispy wood is what you need. And if you have cast iron, I see guy the cooking, Sam, says he has a whole lot of cast iron. Stover has a lot of cast iron. He's ruined too many good cast iron pans. Got to get the Krispy Kreme. Easy to use. And if you need to re-season it right from the beginning, there's a whole process listed on the back of the tube. Walk you right through it. And then you can go into maintenance mode after that. Krispy.org. It's wonderful stuff. And so is the wood stuff. I'm so happy. I think it's kosher too. So if you keep a kosher household and you need to shine up your neglected knife handles or other wood products, shine your wood, get the Krispy wood. Easy stuff. $11. It could last you a year, he said. I was thinking 3 weeks, 4 weeks. No. $11. That's $1 a month. Less than $1 a month. Well, maybe more with shipping, but whatever. It's right around $1 a month. All right, we're going to be pointing to the second hour. Refresh your libations, and we'll be back with some hot takes. If you want to jump in, 216-220-0966. Stand by. We'll be right back.
This is Dino Dan from Cypress, California, and you're watching the Barbecue Central Show.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the Charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
Oh, listen, Libertius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
All right, just like that, we are into the second hour. It's the Barbecue Central Show, where we talk about Barbecue Central Show things, your live fire fun and frivolity show that is found living it on Tuesdays. We are so, or in English, we are also recording, and it will go up for podcast on Wednesday and Thursday, hour number 1 and 2, respectively. Still to come on this show this evening. Sam, the cooking guy, will be in about 12 to 13 minutes from now, and then closing the show, Laura Paul from Smithfield, and we'll be announcing the Smithfield grant recipients. We'll also be talking about the Smithfield Committed Cooks program, if you want to take part in that. SmokinWithSmithfield.com is the website, so check that out. And I'm happy to have you join there and get the cast of goodies for like $20 or $25 or whatever it is. Don't forget, you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and Snapchat. /BBQ Central Show on Facebook and Twitch for video feeds, and your last video feed option /RD Rempe on YouTube. Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less this Friday, episode 162. I got to tell you right now, if you haven't listened to one episode of the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less, make this your first one. Do me the favor and make this the first one that you listen to. Because back in January of 2013, January 22nd of 2013 to be exact, a guy by the name of Harry Sue from Slap Your Daddy Barbecue was on my show, and we talked in depth about cooking chicken. We also talked about internal finish temperatures of cooking chicken. Back then, Harry brought up that he was cooking chicken to an internal temperature of 145 degrees, which, of course, is pinging your brain right now. That's much less than the FDA recommends at 165. Of course. It was all the rage back then in 2013. Harry Sue is cooking chicken to 140. He's killing everybody. It was all the rage back then. Still really good to get reacquainted with this topic if you're not familiar with it. It was really fun back then. It holds up 8 years later. I just did a preview with it the other day, or earlier this afternoon. And remember this, if you're immediately and feverishly typing an email out going, Harry Sue cooking chicken to 145, that's absolutely dangerous, it's irresponsible, but here's what you have to take into consideration. Here's what he talks about as we were having our chat 8 years ago. Actually, a little more than 8 years ago. It's internal temperature and time. Holding it at that temperature. So where 165 degrees is your, let's say, auto kill on all the nasties, everything still dies at 145 degrees, except it's not instantaneous. So as he says in the best of portion, 145, but I hold it for X amount of time, which then gives me the same result as it would at 165, but the mouthfeel and the tenderness and all that other stuff, that's a whole different monster at 145 than at 165. So, as I said, if you've never heard of Best Moments, this is the one that you want to get introduced to. Then you can go back and listen to all the other 161 episodes that have currently been up there, thanks to my pal John from Michigan, the embedded correspondent. What can I tell you? Let me remind you, by the way, that if there is a segment or guest that you would like to hear on a upcoming best of, just shoot John an email, john@thebbqcentralshow.com, and that's Jon. A lot of you have been asking me if this is where I will jump in on the Mo Kason versus Des Moines, Iowa barbecue joints situation that has been going on the last handful of days. Mo is in the beginning process of opening a barbecue restaurant and took a few seconds to give an interview to the Des Moines Register or whatever it is. Within the minutes of that interview, taking shots at a few local Des Moines, Iowa barbecue restaurants, namely Jethro's Barbecue, which he said was completely trash.
What?
I'm sorry, garbage, I believe was his exact quote. He also took a shot at Iowa Smokey D's Barbecue. Of course, that's Darren Warth's place. I'm not jumping in at this point simply because Mo is not up and running yet. He's not up and running yet.
You are not the fire.
That's right. Not up and running yet. A barbecue restaurant isn't just about cooking. It's really a lot about running the business of the business. Would I have gone out of my way to take shots before my doors are even open? Me? No, I personally wouldn't. But let's see how it plays out over the next few weeks, over the next few months, and then we can have a better sample size to evaluate. Maybe I'll see if Darren and Mo will come on and do a show in the next few weeks and have fun with each other. I'll put the invite out there. I don't know if we would get both of them. I would hazard a guess that we would get one or the other. Maybe not both, but you never know. They're competitors, all in the same rate. And then there's this. I don't know what I did to Amazon. I don't know what I did to get YouTube angry at me years ago either. That's a different story. I had a link at the top of my show website that said Amazon on it. It would send you to the home page for Amazon if you shop during the visit. There was a code that was embedded to give the show website a referral kickback if you bought something. All those whopping 20s and 30s of dollars that it generated each year, I sunk back into the production of the show for various expenses and upgrades. However, 3 months ago, I got an email saying that my account had been terminated immediately because I was in violation of the Amazon Associates Agreement. And that how the rules are, Amazon can turn you off without any specific reason. So I went through the said agreement, found I was not doing anything against the agreement, filed my appeal as it said I had the opportunity to do so. Well, I got my appeal decision on this past Thursday morning. The result, still banned. Just like on YouTube, still banned. Not on the YouTube that you're watching me on, but my original YouTube channel, still banned. You know, what the hell is going on here? It cited my continued violation of the Associates Agreement and that again, they can pick and choose who they want to do business with and who they can tell to fuck off when it comes to their program. I have thoroughly researched the rules of this program. I have not been in violation of any of these rules of these programs. Hell, the only thing I really had was that link on the top of my website that sent people to Amazon. I mean, what? My traffic isn't good enough for you, Amazon? You don't want my prospects to peruse your web pages and potentially buy something, making you money Making me a little bit of money? Is it beyond frustrating? Yes. But I'm not chasing it any further. I will relent and not have the Amazon link at the top of my page. I didn't have any of those kooky stores or anything like that. Just the link at the top of my page. But I have to take it off. Now it's out. Trust me, not having that link on the top of the webpage now will probably cause me to have to move out into the street because I can't afford my life without that Amazon money. My question to you that have the valid associates agreement, have you run into anything like this before? And if you have, how did you resolve it in your favor? If you got it resolved in your favor, are you like me, out on the street, hit the bricks, pal, and beat it because you are going out? Lastly, screw you, Amazon, and fuck you, YouTube. Those two websites are the Jack Nicholas and the Kent DeSormo of the internet. I've had it with Amazon. I've had it with YouTube. What I haven't had it with yet, Southside Market, because their sausage is unbelievable. The sausage slammers, the jalapeno and cheddar, love it. Established in 1882, the oldest barbecue joint in Texas, run by the same family for 3 generations. Premium Central Texas barbecue meats are slow smoked over real wood, shipping, distributing, and manufacturing sausages for companies across the U.S., from food trucks to multi-chain restaurants. Southside sausage can be on your menu as well. All meats are processed in the on-site USDA inspected facility. A trusted partner with a focus on quality and authenticity. Wholesale options are available. Why, yes, sir, they are. Shipping nationwide via the FedEx. Food service distribution through Sysco, U.S. Food, and Martin Foods, just to name a few. Co-packaging capable from research and development to package completion. They can follow your recipe or help you to something brand new. Why not? Private label opportunities are also available. You can visit SouthsideMarket.com to stock up. 10% off all online orders all the time. Tell all your friends and neighbors. BBQ Central at checkout. That's the promo code BBQ Central. All one word in lowercase for 10% off your entire online order each and every time at SouthsideMarket.com. That's SouthsideMarket.com. Who doesn't want to save 10%? I want to save 10%. Again, get the sausage slammer. Get 10 sausage slammers. Get the jalapeno cheddar. Oh, and get the hot guts.
What?
The hot guts. The beef sausage. That's the thing they're most known for. You got to get it. Great. All right, we are back with Sam, the cooking guy. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the #1 most downloaded barbecue and grilling podcast anywhere. The BBQ Central Show. Monthly visits from a killer hog, a cooking guy, a man named Meathead, the author of Barbecue Bible, a grill girl, a bristly barbecue journalist, and the malfeasance of the barbecue world known as the embedded correspondents. Only found right here on the Barbecue Central Show.
Hey, this portion of the show being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet. Currently available in 2 sizes, a host of accessories to complete your pit barrel cooking experience, whether you're a beginner or professional. Definitely a cooker you want to add to the arsenal. Visit pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them the Barbecue Central Show sent you. My next guest blowing it up on YouTube with over 2.54 million subscribers as of earlier this afternoon. You can watch 3 videos per week that he's pumping out, along with Max and Chance in production. So let's go ahead and race at the hotline. And welcome back, Sam, the cooking guy. Hey, Sam.
Greg, how are you?
I'm fine, and welcome
How do
back.
I sound?
You sound great.
Thank you.
For being right on the mic.
Right on the mic. I don't know what happened.
Look, I mean, when people when this isn't your main thing, and then you have the microphone in front of you, people just have a tendency to kind of duck and dodge. Meathead is a classic example of it. And, it's just, I'm OCD about it. So, that's what, and I pay attention to it.
I felt a bit chastised.
Well, it was a reminder.
Isn't Meathead basically the low rider of microphone users? Isn't he like this?
Well, I mean, typically he is, but then last time he was on, I said, hey, do me a favor. Put that mic arm so that he's got a sweet spot on his mic. I said, this is where it is.
Yeah,
Make sure that thing is just in front of your face every single time so we can hear the good Meathead. Because as soon as he gets away from it, then it sounds like he's got the computer microphone back on. And then what's good of having an outside microphone, right?
Exactly.
Who's Jordan Jones?
Jordan Jones is a YouTuber,
All right.
a TikToker, an Instagrammer, a Facebooker, a TikToker. Did I say TikToker? She has just between TikTok and Instagram,
yes,
almost 17 million people following.
No way.
And she's 20. 20. Wait, let me say that again. 20.
So did she get fame originally from TikTok and then went across platforms, or YouTube first? Like where did she make her bones?
Well, she's a singer, performer. I don't think
she have a hit
TikTok
song
came first. I am not listening to very many 20-year-old hit songs.
Liar.
It's true. Who do I listen to? Go ahead, name something.
I don't even know 20. Is Drake 20 years old?
I almost never listen to music. I listen to, when I have time to listen, I listen to conversation. I watch and I listen to you.
Yes, that's
and
the
I'm
best
a Stern
way, right?
fan as you are.
I mean, the best way. This is what I think, and only because probably this is how the show was originally born, was just audio only. It was on internet radio, whatever the hell that was, back 13 years ago when we started this thing. By the way, next week, wait, what are we at? Second? In 5 days from now, I'll be celebrating the beginning of my 13th year of live shows.
Holy,
you can believe it.
God.
Wow. Notwithstanding that, I think the best way to consume this show, and there's a lot of people watching now through the video because people are visual and they like the whole voyeur situation. But I find that when I watch the show, if I listen to the same show in the car on the way to work, it's a much better show. I don't know if it's just an aversion to watching me or the fact that I never wanted to have a video component and I only wanted to just have audio so people could do theater of the mind. But I find it much more entertaining on podcast than I do watching it.
You know, the only embedded correspondent that I have a mental picture of is Scheiding.
Yeah.
And that's because I've met him. The other ones I have no idea because I listen. I don't watch this. I was talking to Walchef today. We're talking about something, and I said, I don't watch Greg's show. I listen to Greg's show. And I'm very happy doing it.
Yes.
I really am.
I encourage it.
I really am.
Yeah.
Well, of course you do. And I encourage it too. And I'll tell you this, and I'm not saying this to kiss your ass or anything. Right. The more I listen, the more I like it. The more I listen, the more I learn. The more I listen, the more I now start to go Google the people you've had on.
Oh, good.
We had that conversation with, was it Kevin Riches?
Derek Riches.
Derek Riches.
Yeah.
I was taken with his knowledge.
Yeah.
I really was. It's really interesting. The pellet thing, the B&B pellet wood charcoal conversation the other day, I really enjoyed that.
Good.
I think I'm becoming a barbecue nerd. I'm not sure, but I might be.
Yeah, I think you might be more than you even know it.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the one that said to me, you don't realize it, my friend, but you have a live fire cooking show.
But more or less.
Yes, I did.
More live fire than not. No doubt about it. Yeah. You have a new grinder, meat grinder, showcased in your at least showcased to me for the first time in your Salisbury steak episode, which is a question that I'll ask you about all on its own independently. Give me some Sam the Cooking Guy feedback on this meat grinder.
I wish I could remember what model it was. I did. I when I go on Amazon looking for something, or I spend some time. I read reviews, and I bought a grinder. What I had previous to this was a plastic attachment that went on the front end of my KitchenAid stand mixer. And the thing absolutely just went, broke. The little metal disc that shears off the meat as it spins around. One of the 4 pieces of it just snapped. It was just a piece. It was a piece of junk. So I went looking for one. We used this thing the other day. And the first time I really turned it on was when I plugged it in, getting ready to grind this meat for the burger that I think was 50% tri-tip and 50% short rib. Yep. And I'm going to tell you, maybe one of the best blends I've ever put together. It was so delicious. And if your viewers aren't grinding their own, they're missing out, because it's hard to get these combinations just by buying the stuff already ground. You can't find ground tri-tip or short rib. That chuck, of course, but you want to do something interesting. It's hard to do it without a grinder. So anyway, we set this thing up. I turn it on. It's an all metal housing now for the whole grinding attachment part. There is so much power in this damn thing. You know, you put a piece of meat in it, and it just goes. Shoo. It's like one of those massive straight down slides at a water park. It came out so fast. I was very impressed with it. It was way under. It was under $100. It might have been 80, 85 or something like that, I think.
This is an Amazon purchase?
I wholeheartedly endorse getting yourself a grinder. If you want to take your burger game to the next level, and I hate saying that, couldn't grab it any other words in my mouth or in my brain. You need to do that. Fantastic. We have a triple blend at our Samburgers restaurants. And every time I take a bite, I'm like, holy shit.
I mean, it makes all the difference in the world.
It made all the difference in the world. No doubt. Really. If I leave your listeners and or your viewers tonight with anything, and you're fans of burgers, I would tell you, get yourself a meat grinder. You really should.
All right. Well, go watch the Salisbury steak episode that was released last week and get the brand of whatever it is. Because you turned that thing on. It scared the shit out of me. The minute you turned it on, I was like, man, I hope he doesn't put his hand down there, because he's going to have Sam Burger in the literal sense. I mean, it was going to take your hand off. So that would be the thing that I would get. I mean, there's no doubt.
And just to, at the risk of repeating myself, if you go and you watch the episode, the only other times I've had Salisbury steak in my life, I thought they were the worst pieces of shit ever and would never have one. This thing was fantastic. Think about many super tender, moist, luxurious mini meatloaves in this incredibly intense, gorgeous mushroom gravy.
What could you have used outside of? You put Guinness in there for like liquid as part of the gravy.
Yeah.
What can I use outside of that? Like just beef stock or what?
I would use beef stock, but I think I would amp it up an extra, 30, 40, maybe even 50%. Just use extra. And as I asked you the other day, if you use beef tallow, I use beef tallow to sear these patties before all the mushroom part happens. Have you had a conversation about beef tallow with your audience?
I had Nothing ongoing. I had a guy from Texas, Tim McKeska, on, who was like a sausage king, and he went through the process of making beef tallow at home. You're missing out if you're just tossing away the beef fat, and he did it. But we haven't talked about use or anything like that.
So it's literally as simple as just rendered beef fat. But they sell it now in the stores in a jar.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, you're gonna sear a steak. You're gonna make some mushrooms to go on top of a burger or some onions or something. A spoonful of this instead of oil or butter is a game changer, because you get the lubrication that you need to cook whatever it is you've got in the pan, but with this extra flavor, and you just smell it and you'll fall in love. Just go look for beef tallow in a jar, start using it. You'll be very surprised at how it really changes your food game.
Where I find it in my Giant Eagle, which is around the tri-state area, I think it has the stronghold on the grocery store chains out here. It's in the oil aisle. So we have the beef tallow, like you have. Yeah. We also have pork, and we also have chicken.
Yeah, they have that here too.
Yes.
And this is the only tallow that I have. Let me just hold it. Here's my picture. Here's my picture that I sent you and said,
right there, Epic beef tallow.
You use that? Yeah, I'm not pimping that brand.
Yeah.
I have no reason to.
It's the same one in my grocery store. I think it's probably readily available everywhere, it seems.
It is. So just go look for it. Honestly, just go look for it.
Now,
it's crazy.
In full disclosure, I would tend to take a dump on some of the things that you would take a dump on. For instance, this Salisbury steak, that you have had two other times in your life in probably industrial settings.
Yes.
For some reason, you go to the frozen aisle into the grocery store and you find Encore Salisbury steaks. I can eat the ass end out of those Salisbury. I don't know why I love them so much. I have a feeling there's a nostalgia thing. Like when my dad was out of town on business, we would get like cream dried beef on toast, or hamburger helper mac and cheese, or the Salisbury steak. But even through college, I would eat it, and every now and again we'll just have it like for fun. But God, I don't know. It's like spongy meat and a pretty terrible gravy, and I love it. I hate to say it, but I love it.
You know what? Look, no, don't hate to say it. We all have those things that we
guilty
like.
Pleasure.
It's a guilty pleasure for me. Back in the day, and when I say back in the day, sadly, I'm now referring to like 2019, a Chinese buffet. Not even a good Chinese buffet restaurant. Could be the worst, shittiest Chinese buffet ever. But for me, that neon orange chicken, the giant pile of chow mein noodles, the shitty egg foo young. I'll take a bad Chinese buffet over many Western restaurants any day of the week. So
in one of the you did was it pulled pork eggs Benedict?
Yes, with green chili hollandaise. Right. One of the best things we all agreed we've had in a long time.
Talk to me specifically about poaching an egg. I think some people have a handle on that. I think some people have seen Food Network videos on that, but I found it intriguing that you showed it how you were doing, of course, like you do on all your videos, but then you were talking about like holding it in the refrigerator for next time or saving something for later. Like, how the hell do you do that?
No, it's crazy. You would never think of making an egg today and serving it tomorrow.
Never.
A fried egg, a scrambled egg. Never. There is something about a poached egg that lets it be made today and be served tomorrow in the best way possible.
Are you watching yourself behind you?
What?
Are you watching yourself behind you?
No, I'm not watching me.
I love that.
I put that on just for your benefit.
I love it. I'm glad I found it.
I don't watch me. I do. Aside from watching myself while we edit a video, I will not watch me.
I understand.
I don't
that.
like to watch me.
I get it.
Yeah.
Back to the poached eggs. You just muted yourself. Unmute. There you go. There you go. Top of the mic. Nope. Top of the microphone. There it is. There it is. You got it.
I got it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So there's this thing about poached eggs that brings a ridiculous amount of pressure with it. And here's the problem. Can you poach an egg nicely, perfectly?
Yes,
without
I can.
Silicone cups or
in the water.
Or like a microwave thing in the water. Okay.
Yep.
But a lot of people can't. They're scared of it. And I would say, look, can you ride a bike? And everybody goes, yes. I go, there was a time when you couldn't ride a bike. And the difference between then and now is this little thing called practice and experience. You do it a couple times, you get it figured out. Same thing with poached eggs. You don't need silicone cups. Some stupid-ass microwave thing that goes in that gives you a dumb, perfectly uniform poached egg because they're just not right. You need to learn how to do this. But so let's say you can make a poached egg. The second you determine it's perfect in the pot, you take it out, you put it into ice water. Stops it cooking. And you just put that egg in the ice water in your fridge and you leave it to the next day or the next day after that. Now, here's the beautiful part of it. Let's say you're having 4 people for brunch on a Sunday. Making poached eggs takes time. It also takes a toll on you because you want to get them right. And sometimes they break. Sometimes you ruin it, right? So I say you do them the day before. You take your time. If you fuck up one, no problem. Throw it out. Make another one. Give yourself 4 or 8 perfect poached eggs that are now in cold water in your fridge. And when you need them, you've got your English muffin, if that's what you're using. You've got your ham, your Canadian bacon. You've got your hollandaise made. By the way, you can go to thecookingguy.com and get a great simple blender hollandaise recipe, no fail. But now all you do when you need them is you take those poached eggs, you slip them into simmering water for 1 minute. Take them out, give them a quick dry on a towel, put them on top of the Canadian bacon, add the hollandaise, and Bob's your uncle. They're done. And they're perfect. And you've not stood in the kitchen freaking out that you've got 6 good ones, you need 2 more, and you keep screwing them up. Uncle Joey's not going to get his, and he's really particular. Because we all want that beautifully set white, but with the runny yolk.
Mm-hmm. And you're keeping them in the refrigerator in water. That's how you're keeping them, cold water.
Exactly.
All right.
I'm telling you, it's the world's best hack. It really is. But you got to learn how to make a poached egg. Come on. Just stop using the training wheels to get yourself there. That's just ridiculous.
30 seconds left. Do you have a great Valentine's Day lead pipe lock for the get down?
Yeah, I'm always going to I'm going to reverse sear a beautiful fillet. I'm going to buy a package Béarnaise sauce.
Yes.
Like Knorr. Knorr makes it a really good
I have 20
Béarnaise
packets
sauce, right?
in my closet right now.
Exactly. Maybe a little extra salt because it probably needs that. But crab too. So I cook my fillet. I take some crab that's already cooked. You can buy good pasteurized crab in a can in the refrigerator section of the store. You take your fillet. You've got it perfectly cooked on the plate because you've reverse seared it. You put some crab on top, the Béarnaise on top of that. And then, a little parsley, a little chive, a few cracks of some fresh black pepper. You're getting laid, I think, no matter what.
All right.
Unless you're by yourself, and then you take care of yourself.
Then it's a guaranteed. Then it's guaranteed.
Absolutely.
Right. Maybe you only have to go top sirloin instead of filet for that. Who you impress? Hey, you can check out Sam the better. Yes, of course. On that day, treat yourself. Why not? It's a day for lovers or self-lovers or whatever you got.
Of course.
Sam the Cooking Guy is here, of course, on the first Tuesday of every month. You can get him over on YouTube. If you're not subscribed to him, go do that. And his website, thecookingguy.com. And don't forget the knives and some of the cool shirts that he's got as well. Sam, always appreciate the time, and we will see you in March.
Have fun. Wow. All that time. All right, buddy.
All right. There he is. Sam the Cooking Guy right there. Enjoying it as always. We have Laura Paul coming up. Talk about the Smithfield Grant. Does anybody else keep 8 or 10 poached eggs on the ready? I can tell you who's going to start doing that because myself and my middle daughter are huge poached egg fans. So we will be keeping them ongoing. Like my oldest and my wife are big hard-boiled egg fans, and they'll keep 8, 10, 12 at a time. We're going with the poached eggs. We're going to try that this weekend. Before we get to Laura, let me quickly talk to you about Big Papa Smokers, the one-stop online shop for all things barbecue. Curated selection by by Sterling Big Papa Ball himself. They have the seasonings and the rubs. Great flavors like Sweet Money, Cattle Prod, Cash Cow, all proven winners on the competition circuit and in backyards. If you want to try out a brand new barbecue sauce, if you're looking for something that's out of the norm or what's currently available, Granny's barbecue sauce, they own that. It's a traditional yet powerful flavor that will remind you of why you fell in love with barbecue in the first place. Outside of the premium selection of rubs and sauces, they're selling cookers, and you know that. If you're looking for a versatile smoker that's easy to use, check out that Mac 2-Star General Pellet Cooker. Big Papa Smokers, the exclusive Mac dealer, even offering special packages. Not a fan of pellet smokers? All right. Check out that Old Hickory Ace BP, as championed by Malcolm Reed in the first hour as well. It's the only charcoal smoker that Big Papa trusts on his competition trailer. If you're not sure of what grill you need, you really can't go wrong with anything over at BigPapaSmokers.com. If you have any questions, call them, 877-828-0727. That's 877-828-0727. Again, shop the website, BigPapaSmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA Smokers.com. And we are back with Laura Paul from Smithfield right after this. Stick around.
You're listening to the #1 most downloaded barbecue and grilling podcast anywhere. The Barbecue Central Show. Celebrating over 10 years of prolific and unparalleled live fire barbecue and grilling talk. And yes, it's still being done from Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
As luck would have it, this portion of the show being brought to you by Smithfield. That's right. Head on over to smokinwithsmithfield.com to check out the Committed Cooks program. We're going to be talking about the Grant program. And, of course, Smithfield.com through the grilling season, because grilling season is every season. Or perhaps I should say every month is grilling season. Even here in the brutality of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio, SmokingWithSmithfield.com is the place to go to check all that out. All right, joining me now is friend of show, Laura Paul from Smithfield. Hey, Laura, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Greg?
I am fabulous. Appreciate you making time for the show, as always, and we have some big announcements to talk about, some other things to chat about as well. So let's go ahead and get right to the grant program. Usually we like to tease a little bit to draw in, but I think it was announced well enough in advance, so everybody that is going to be interested in hearing if they got the nod will be tuning in here this evening. So how do you it's a little different than it has been in years past, right? Because, we were going to do one last year, and of course, COVID hit, and a lot of contests took a dump, a lot of those being ones that Smithfield Grant Program was a part of. So, let's quickly review back into 2020 and talk about, where the expectation was and then how it actually ended up shaking out for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, just as kind of a recap, the grant program is obviously awards barbecue competitions grant money to enhance their event, give back to the competition cook teams, and deepen that prize pool payout for the top 10 and the top overall categories in the competition. So for 2020, I believe we had about 22 or 23 events that were chosen back in December of 2019. And as the year went on, a number of those events had to either cancel or reschedule. So as the year went on, and I believe it was actually 18 events who were awarded grants in 2020 had to cancel or defer their event to this year. Some events are even looking at pushing to 2022. So we decided that the right thing to do was honor those grant recipients if they decided to reschedule their event for this year. So we have 18 events that were 2020 recipients that we are honoring in 2021. And we have 19 new events that we've added. So we have a total of 37 grant recipients this year.
All right. So how do you want to go about unveiling? Should we do the carryovers from last year, and then we can announce the additional ones that are selected for 2021?
I've got them laid out in order of date.
Okay.
So if we can just go through that, I figured we'd start with the first event that's scheduled in March and go through the whole list as one.
Okay, let's do that. Go ahead.
Okay, so our first grant recipient is on March 26th, Barbecue Gives Back in Urbana, Virginia. Second is on April 9th, Smoke in the Spring in Osage City, Kansas. Our third event is on April 10th, Carfest San Antonio Barbecue Cook-Off in San Antonio, Texas. On April 23rd, we have Washmo Barbecue Bikes and Blues in Washington, Missouri. Our fifth event is on April 30th, Jiggy with the Piggy in Kannapolis, North Carolina. We have another event on April 30th, Masters in May in Bancroft, Wisconsin. Number 7 on our list, May 8th, is Esperanza Bonanza in Marion, Arkansas. Number 8 is May 15th, Twin Valley Fire and Smoke in Morgantown, Pennsylvania. On May 22nd, our 9th event is High on the Hog Festival in Winchester, Tennessee. We have 2 events on May 29th. The first is Red, White, and Barbecue in Westmont, Illinois. The second is Valley Veterans Barbecue Competition in Valley, Nebraska. Number 12, on June 5th, is the Original South Dakota Barbecue Championship in Huron, South Dakota. Number 13 is on June 18th, Almost Heaven Barbecue Bash in Roanoke, West Virginia. Number 14, on June 25th, Lake Merival Barbecue Cook-Off in Carthage, Texas. Number 15, on June 26th, Heritage Days Barbecue Showdown in Belvedere, Illinois. We have 2 events on July 17th. First is Chillin' and Grillin' in the Glades in Wise, Virginia, and Cameron Elk's Double Header Cook-Off in Cameron, Missouri. On July 24th, we have Clayton Barbecue Cook-Off in Clayton, California. Another event on the 24th of July is Smokin' on Main, Code 3 Spices in Collinsville, Illinois. 2 events on July 31st as well. July's a pretty busy month.
Yeah,
Smokin'
no doubt.
Saddle Barbecue in Dodge City, Kansas. And Smoke in the Grove Barbecue Festival in Spring Grove, Pennsylvania. On August 7th, we have our 22nd event, Lassen Annual Barbecue Cook-Off in Susanville, California. On August 20th, we have Smoke on the Bricks, Baldwin City, Kansas. On August 27th, we've got Death's Door Barbecue in Washington Island, Wisconsin. 2 events on August 28th, Hill City Wine, Brew, and Barbecue Fest in Rapid City, South Dakota, and New Holland Summerfest in New Holland, Pennsylvania. Our 27th event is September 10th. It's Riverfest in Decatur, Alabama. On September 11th, we've got Ribs, Rods, and Rock and Roll in Vermilion, South Dakota. On September 18th, the Tri-City Barbecue Fest in Denison, Iowa. And on October 9th, we've got our 30th event, Barbecue and Blues on the Levee in Helena, Arkansas. Number 31 on October 10th, All American Smokers in Bonifay, Florida. On October 15th, the Dave Psalm Barbecue Classic in Bancroft, Wisconsin. October 23rd, we've got Smokin' for Garrett in Boonville, Indiana. In November, November 6th, we've got 2 events, Polar Pig Barbecue Cook-Off in Concord, North Carolina, and Saluting with Smoke in Yorkville, Illinois. Our 36th event is in November, on November 12th, Bands, Brews, and Barbecue in Port Royal, South Carolina. And last but certainly not least, on December 11th, 2021, the Briscoe Ranch Barbecue Cook-Off in Uvalde, Texas.
Is that enough for you? Holy moly. Wow, you did it. 37, and you did it expertly, which is certainly no surprise. Laura Paul joining us here from Smithfield. All right, so let me quickly go through here as I was feverishly taking notes. Represented in these states, Florida, Indiana, South Carolina, West Virginia, California gets a pair, Alabama, Iowa, Virginia gets a pair, Kansas has 3, Texas has 3, Missouri has 2, North Carolina has 2, Wisconsin has 3, Arkansas has 2, Pennsylvania has 3, Tennessee, Illinois has 4, I believe, Nebraska and South Dakota has 3. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, certainly some states had a repeat or 2, but that's still, as I had talked, all the way back when, it was with Emily and we were originally talking about the grant program, there was a lot of talk about, well, how much of the country are you going to be hitting, and are there going to be favorites, and blah, blah, blah. And here you are really taking a huge swath of the country, all the way from California to the New England area and down south and all the points in between. When you're looking at events to take on, what are the most crucial parts of your analysis? Like, if I'm a guy that's going to be putting on a barbecue contest, what does Smithfield like to see in order to give myself the best shot at securing a Smithfield grant?
Well, we normally like to see events that are a little bit established. So we don't normally support events in their first or second year. Obviously, we want to see that it's an event that's trying to be an annual tradition and will come back year after year. We don't want to see other competitive sponsors of the event, obviously. But really, this year was almost a blessing. As much trouble as 2020 caused everyone, we were able to focus on choosing events this year that maybe we weren't able to support in the past. So there's a lot of new events that I think have been repeat applicants. And I really wanted to look at those events and say, okay, this is the year that we're going to be able to support them because we're really broadening the number and we're bringing it almost up to 40 events, where in the past we've done, closer to 20 or 25. This year we also took into consideration whether an event had a backyard component, which, we really like to see. So the majority of our new events, I believe 15 out of 18 have a backyard component as well.
Laura Paul joining us here from Smithfield, talking about the grant program recipients, and it was an extensive list, 37 events, some carrying over from 2020, 18 of those, and then 19 new ones here in 2021 as well. Let's talk a little bit about the Committed Cooks program. By the way, I will go ahead and post a graphic that I got a little earlier on my social media. So if you're missing out on this, or you hate the podcast, or whatever the case is, and you just want to look visually, I'll go ahead and make sure that I post that on social media as well. The other component to this at smokingwithsmithfield.com has been the ever popular Committed Cooks program for a small fee to cover shipping. You're getting a bunch of really cool Smithfield swag.
Yeah, so we actually have some spots available left for the Committed Cooks program for this year. I think we've got just under 30 spots left out of a total of 300. Wow. So if anyone out there listening wants to sign up, they should definitely go to smokingwithsmithfield.com. Like you mentioned, there's a small $25 registration fee, but that really covers the shipping on the really cool swag items that we send everyone. So, from wearables to, cool different prizes and chairs, tumblers, coolers, you get some swag items that you can put on display while competing. And, this is a good way for, everyday cooks and people on the circuit to be unofficial ambassadors for the brand. So we really love everyone who signed up and shows Smithfield the love. We've been known to show up at events throughout the year and give some, surprise and delights out. So we love to see all the banners, the shirts, the aprons, all the love that these cooks give us.
Laura, also, you did, for the first year, I think it was a kind of a name partnership with KCBS for their World Championship. How do you think that went off as a first-year event, and is that something you're going to be going with in year number 2?
Yeah, this is a great partnership. Obviously, I know Emily Detweiler very well. We have a connection through Smithfield and decided that it would be a really good opportunity for both of us to partner. So we actually just got the official recap of the 2020 event. Because KCBS combined their World Invitational, which we are the presenting sponsor of, along with their Team of the Year awards and annual KCBS banquet. So it was a really fun event, socially distant and responsible, in Mayetta, Kansas last November. And we did announce at that banquet that we will be the presenting sponsor again in 2021. So we're really looking forward to that partnership. We'll be partnering with KCBS throughout the year, on some other events as well as on social media. So, watch both of our handles at Smithfield Brand and KCBS social media platforms, and we'll be sharing back and forth quite a bit.
Laura, do you have a gut feeling, just your own speculation on how you think the first half of the year is actually going to come off from a competition perspective? Anything that you're hearing from any of the experts?
My hope is that we, go off without a hitch. Obviously, I'm optimistic, but also realistic. And I think the name of the game is flexibility. So for going back to our grant program, if we have grant recipients that need to change the date, we had that issue last year. We are 100% flexible, willing to work with all of these partners of ours and events and grant recipients. So we're flexible. We know that events and states are going with the flow, hoping for the best, but I really want to get out to some competitions this year. I hope that we can, continue our sponsorships of Memphis in May and the Royal and the Jack, just to name a few others. But we'll see. I hope it goes smoothly.
You had mentioned a couple minutes ago about making a larger partnership or maybe some cross promotion within KCBS. Do you think that competition barbecue as a scene might get some kind of renaissance either through the, after the first half of this year or maybe even into next year as we look down the road? Perhaps something akin to what I refer to as the golden age of competition barbecue, when you had pitmasters on for, 10 or 11 seasons and everybody realized, hey, I don't have to be a world-class athlete to be a really good competitive barbecue cook, and I can go up against the best at the same time. Do you see Smithfield being a part of this in some way, let's say even 5 years from now?
I think so. And, a lot of people have had time to practice their skills at home, Greg. So I see some new pit masters coming out of the woodworks. My husband loves to smoke. We've got 2 smokers at home. I think the backyard barbecuer has had a lot of time to hone their skills, and we'll be seeing some new pitmasters come out and challenge the competition.
For one of the longest periods of time that I can remember, my biggest bitch about competition barbecue is how the flavor profile seems to have stalled out. Everybody wants to copy everybody because everybody wants to do what's winning, and it's gotten really expensive, obviously, so nobody wants to step outside of the box and potentially put themselves in a situation of just blowing off their feet, just trying to be different. Do you think because of this situation that we have found ourselves in, that this might be an entryway into people showing a little bit more originality, number one, and then number two, the judges will be more open to judging more rewardingly because of this whole thing?
I hope so. I think that would be a great change to the circuit. You're right. I mean, people cook to the region they're in or the judges that are there and their preferences. I think we're going to see a lot more virtual competitions, and with that, either public choice or, we'll say the general public, sending in their own cooks and recipes. So I think we're going to see quite a few more virtual competitions, like the barbecue battle, Giant Barbecue Battle did this year. That was a huge success. So I foresee a few more of those, and I think that'll push the envelope a little bit on how Master Series events are run. Perhaps that's just my personal thought.
Does Smithfield have? This is a kind of an important question that I'm asking. Does Smithfield have people corporately that are monitoring competition forums and competition social media pages for as nice as competition folks are, or as we hear them to be, or at least claim to be? I've seen a lot of them kind of eat their young, if you will, on social media forums and other message boards from time to time. So in your opinion, do you think folks should be cognizant of how they're coming across on these kind of channels in order to make sure that the whole industry is being shown in their best light, so they can attract or continue to attract companies like Smithfield or some bigger companies that are looking to invest into this kind of a industry?
Well, if you're looking for, corporate sponsorships or companies like Smithfield to invest, I think public image is always important. But at the end of the day, I think people just need to be kind to each other. Everyone has their own opinion, and you're definitely welcome to that. But that would be what I would say is, I think there's an opportunity just in general for everyone to be more welcoming, opening. I've definitely seen that on the circuit, and especially with the backyard side of it. We had a really great showing at the KCBS World Invitational, and, everyone was just so welcoming to those backyard teams. It was really wonderful to see.
Before I let you go, is there anything business-wise, before I ask the last question, that you want to talk about or that we haven't covered?
Well, I will circle back to the grant program. I did want to make the point that this is our fifth anniversary of the grant program.
Wow.
To date, we've awarded grants to 142 different events. So with 2021, that'll bring us up to about 180 events. And with this year's investment, we'll be close to $600,000 in investment in competition barbecue through our grant program.
I think the most important thing to note, aside from the sheer number of events that you've helped deepen that prize pool, is that's what it is about. It's not a promoter sticking some cash in his pocket or somebody else making out with this money. This is being infused into the competition. This is going directly into the cook's pocket. It's a little bit more money. It's a little bit more incentive to keep these people coming back. I mean, this is really what the grant program is all about.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, Laura. So last question before I let you go this evening. There's a big game coming up on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, and it's the Chiefs and it's Tampa Bay. I've asked everybody else this evening, and Tampa Bay is currently winning on the votes. But do you have a pick on who you think will take the championship?
Well, I grew up in Connecticut, so I'm a Giants fan. But if I have to pick between the two that are going to the Super Bowl, I will have to back Kansas City.
Kansas City? All right. I backed Kansas City myself, so we're either in luck or we're both in danger because I backed Kansas City. But they beat the Browns, so now I have to follow the team that beat my team into the Super Bowl.
There you go. That's how it works, right?
You're a Giants fan?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Lord.
Just with my Northeast upbringing.
Yes. Wow. I mean, that's been, there's been some Super Bowls in there, but what's your take on Eli Manning? Is he a really good quarterback, or did he have like flashes of brilliance with sustained mediocrity? I can't get a really good read on him.
I like your latter description, sustained moments of brilliance with some mediocrity, but yeah.
Hey, yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes from here. This is Laura Paul from Smithfield, smokingwithsmithfield.com. Of course, if you want to sign up for that Committed Cooks program, and I will post the graphic of the 2021 grant recipients. Laura, appreciate you coming on and making this announcement here on this show. And as always, if you need to get anything out, hit me up, and we'll have you on the show directly. Thanks so much for coming on tonight.
Thank you so much, Greg. Have a good night.
You got it. There she is, Laura Paul from Smithfield, smokingwithsmithfield.com, of course. 37 events, 18 from last year, 19 new this year. Wow, that's a lot. I'll talk to you quickly about Pits and Spits before we wrap the show. Since 1983, Pits and Spits have been handcrafting smokers and grills in Houston, Texas. In that time, Pits and Spits establishing itself as the premier brand in high-quality offset smokers, and more recently, pellet cookers. Right. Pits and Spits setting itself apart by using heavy 7 and 10-gauge stainless in every cooker, fully welded construction that you can feel when you use the unit, and a 304 stainless roll-top lid and front shelf on every single smoker. Why does that matter? Well, by using higher quality material, Pits and Spits smokers reach and maintain temperatures, allowing you to worry more about the meat than the heat. By providing fully welded smokers, you don't have to worry about grease or smoke leaking out of the barrel or the grill rattling apart as you move it through the backyard. And by using 304 stainless, you're getting an heirloom quality product you can pass down to your kids if you want, or you can get buried with it. Now, where some companies are focusing on being low-cost providers, Pits and Spits focuses on craftsmanship and quality materials. Are there cheaper ways to make these things? Of course. But they don't like tack welds. They don't like crappy stainless or cheap electronics that you can't trust. Having in-house manufacturing gives them complete control of the whole design and standards process. Not something you're going to find anywhere else. Their steel suppliers supply materials to be used in some of the harshest environments, so you know they're going to perform wherever you are in this country. And their controllers are made right here in the States. They have unimpeded transparency into the program. Pits and Spits has a dealer network across the country. If there isn't one near you, give Coy a call at the shop and tell him I sent you. 844-650-6250. That's 844-650-6250. Whether you're a backyard grill master looking to cook steaks for the fam, or a competition team looking to cook 50 racks of ribs, Pits and Spits is a product for you. You can check them out on their website, pitsandspits.com, all spelled out, or check their Pits in the Wild across social media with their handle at Pits and Spits. Once again, all spelled out. Let's wrap this bad boy up. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
And this portion being brought to you by Vortic Watch Company, a small batch custom watch manufacturing and vintage restoration company located in northern Colorado. They take antique American pocket watches and turn them into wristwatches. Their mission: preserve and enhance the legacy of manufacturing excellence in America. In order to do that, they combine traditional and cutting-edge technology to create quality, functional timepieces with exceptional value. Here's the coolest part. Each watch that Vortic makes, unique, one-of-a-kind piece. That's right. Vortic founded on the motto that America wasn't assembled, it was built. Check them out at VorticWatches.com. That's VORTIC, Vortic, VorticWatches.com. Thanks again to Laura Paul from Smithfield. Announcing the 2021 grant recipients. That's a lot. She plowed right through it. And again, while some states did get 2 or 3, there was a pretty good, there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 states represented throughout this great land of ours. So, as she said, if you're a first year or even a second year competition, they might not give you initial consideration unless you're just banging it out of the park right off the gate. But you got to be established, and that money goes right into the overall prize pool. Fabulous. All right, let's go ahead and get out of here all the way back in the first hour. We talked with Malcolm Reed from How to Barbecue Right. Then we talked with Brad Stewart from Crisbee, CRISBEE.org. You got great cast iron products to keep the cast iron in tip-top shape. And then the new product that has just recently been out, the Crisbee Wood. So if you have knife wood handles or wood cutting boards that you've neglected, you need to bring them back into shape, Crisbee Wood is the thing that you're going to need to get. Then in the second hour, we spoke with Sam the Cooking Guy. TheCookingGuy.com is the website. You can find him on YouTube with 3 videos per week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And we close it out with Laura Paul from Smithfield announcing the Grand Program, talking about the Committed Cooks Program, and a number of other topics as well, to include their remaining as the name sponsor of the KCBS World Championships. The show goes up on podcast shortly in the first hour, Thursday, second hour, best of on Friday. Big show planned for you next Tuesday. Meathead is in, of course. And we're going to break format next Tuesday as one of my favorite podcasts / pod documentaries called Relative Unknown. The star of that, Jackie Taylor, will make an appearance in the second hour. We'll talk to her about her time here in Cleveland. Relative Unknown about her father being a very high-ranking member of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club back in the 70s and 80s. So Relative Unknown is the name of the documentary podcast. You might want to check that out if you're into that kind of stuff. But the Jackie Taylor will be on the show in the second hour on Tuesday this coming. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.